Hey guys, today I have a very, very, very good film. So I just got back from The Creator, which is Gareth Edwards' sci-fi action film. He is the creator of this film, so he wrote it, produced it, directed it. He is the filmmaker behind the Rogue One movie, at least the direction. He directed that film. So the Creator is a story about, first, let's go to the beginning. So it's the year 2065, I think. And, AI is very advanced, and, people can copy their likeness and put them in simulants. There's a lot of AI and the workforce and medicine and things like that. So it's a world of AI, and everything's good, right? Until one day there is a bomb that is detonated in Los Angeles, killing, I think, 500 million people. So there is, hundreds of millions of people dead. And to combat this, the United States and other Western nations, they outlaw artificial intelligence, whereas the East, China and Japan and I guess it'd probably be like South Korea, they kind of embrace AI and they don't want to stop producing or in manufacturing and studying and developing AI just because of this one incident that happened in Los Angeles in New York, or Los Angeles in New York, Los Angeles in California and the United States. So basically, there is a war between the Western, mostly the United States. Always the United States that has to be the bad guys. And anyway, like there's a president, he kind of makes the distinction: we're not at war with the people of the East, but we are at war with like AI, because they found out they have AI has the potential to cause great harm. And that's kind of just all like there's not much exposition. They kind of just go into that like very briefly in the beginning. So it kind of gets right into it. There's not a lot of exposition. We start out with seeing Joshua, played by John David Washington, and he is over in what they call New Asia, right? They don't specify if it's like Singapore, China, Japan, Korea, Thailand, Philippines. They just call it New Asia. So he's in New Asia and he's got a wife. He's about to have a kid, and there's like this raid on the village because the government in the United States has this $1 trillion weapon called Nomad, which basically is this super ultra military base in the sky that can target these AI bases. And this is like turn the tide of the war, and they can just target these bases and destroy them once they find them. So they raid the place that John David Washington is at, and unfortunately, his cover is blown because at this point, he was out of the military, and unfortunately, his wife finds out that he's still undercover, and his wife goes to escape, and the Nomad attacks, and she dies. And then it's like 5 years later, and the government comes to him and says, we have to take out this new weapon that what do they call the creator? I cannot remember what they have this name for the creator who created this advanced AI that has the potential to destroy humanity. And then on the mission, he finds out that it's just this little kid, and I think for the longest time I thought this was a little boy, but it's actually a little girl. But it is an AI modeled after a child, like a little girl, and he's tasked with destroying it. But he finds out that he thinks his wife is still alive and that this child can take him to his wife. So He is basically on this journey to find his wife while evading the U.S. military, who is attacking the New Asia, which have embraced AI. So, this film is really good, and there's a lot of twists and turns because, we eventually find out that, you know, during um, during the raid, his friend lets him know back then that, hey, there was some last minute info that we got, that actually the girl's father, who they thought was the creator, was not the creator. It was actually her. So John David Washington's girlfriend was the creator. And then we find out later that she used a template for her own embryo to make the child, which they call Alfie. So in a way, it's her child as well as John David Washington's child. So a lot of emotional stuff in this movie. It is so good. You understand both sides. The AI who just want to survive, they just want to live in peace, and then you understand the humans because they fear AI because it's becoming too powerful. Also, another revelation, which was just so crazy, was that the explosion that happened in LA was because of coding error. So it was a human error. And, the guy says, the simulant says, we would never attack humanity. We just want to live in peace. But man, that revelation that Alfie is actually technically a part of. I cannot remember what Gemma Chan, whoever Gemma Chan's character is, that it's modeled after that embryo, and then she developed it to actually be an AI that grows. So not like other simulants that are just built, like this one can grow like a real human. And this film is just so good. It's really, it could be a glimpse into what happens in our own world if we're not careful. But, there's this dichotomy because we have to be careful of AI, but at the same time, we can't fear AI in the future because it's coming. So, this film was awesome. It is one of the best sci fi films I've ever seen in the last, like, 10 years, probably. Um, so, great story, good characters. It's not even really the action packed type of sci fi movie you'd expect between a war with humans and AI. But, the story that is there is just so good. And, for that, I would give this movie a 10 out of 10. It is definitely a great film, and you should check it out.